I come from a poor background. Yet I'm being passionately pursued by London's most eligible bachelor. After we got together, I discovered he had been live-streaming his pursuit of me online for his own amusement. Next, he planned to live-stream our first night together for his wealthy friends. Instead of getting angry, I agreed willingly. That evening, standing in front of a hidden camera, I pretended to be drunk and said to him, "I have an even prettier side. Would you like to see it?" Edward. Edward wasn't him. It was his best mate. Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. A week after I started dating Cedric Sutton, my friend suddenly sent me a post. "Olivia, doesn't this sound just like you?" The post was titled "Ice Queen, Not So Cool After All." The blogger was a guy who made a bet with his mates about how quickly he could win over the campus beauty. He live-streamed the entire pursuit process. On the first day, he said, "To be honest, I'm not interested in girls like her at all. Ice Queen just means she's not exciting enough. If it weren't for winning the bet, I wouldn't bother with her." On the 10th day, he said, "She messaged me first, haha. Some Ice Queen she is, not so special after all." On the 30th day, he said, "Confession successful, easy win." Seeing her touched expression, I almost couldn't hold back my laughter. The accompanying photo showed a pair of clasped hands. I knew those hands all too well. Even the mole on the knuckle was identical to mine. I was certain this was posted by Cedric. At the end of the post, a follower egged him on. "Winning her over is nothing. Let's see if you can score a home run." Cedric confidently replied, "Just wait and see." Cedric Sutton is known as the rich kid at our university. With his wealth, he's had a string of girlfriends. But I've never had any connection with him. A month ago, he suddenly started pursuing me with great fanfare. Everyone said that young Mr. Sutton was serious this time. I was also deceived by his pretense of deep affection. In all this, my roommate Grace Brooke played no small part. Just like now, Grace returned to our dorm. Seeing me, she immediately put on a meaningful smile. "Olivia, why didn't you agree to go out with Cedric tomorrow?" "I'm busy." "Oh, come on, what could be more important than your boyfriend?" She sidled up to me, eagerly saying, "Cedric likes you so much, you should be more enthusiastic. Otherwise, I'll start feeling sorry for him." "Feeling sorry? Why don't you date him then?" Grace was taken aback by my retort. "Don't think I don't know, she's in cahoots with Cedric." I just saw Grace's ID on the post. "Grace, pursuing her so seriously, I'm getting jealous." "Cedric, it's just for fun." "If you dated me, where would that leave her?" "Grace, haha, we're all mates, what are you on about?" "Cedric, others are mates, you're the queen." Their frequent interactions made it seem like they were flirting. Thinking back over the past month, Grace had been brainwashing me quite a bit. Not wanting to deal with Grace, I turned and went into the bathroom. The door wasn't fully closed. Soon, I heard Grace's tattling voice. "Cedric, your girlfriend's got such a temper. Who does she think she's giving the cold shoulder to?" Cedric's voice quickly responded. "Did she upset you?" "Don't worry, once I dump her, I'll definitely get back at her for you." I knew Cedric had a small clique. It was a group of wealthy, fun-loving heirs and heiresses. Grace was the only girl among them. Every night, they would play games together online. Cedric had never invited me to join. But I knew their online room number. At night, I pretended to be asleep, hiding under my duvet while secretly entering their chat room. The chatter inside was lively. Someone asked, "Cedric, now that you've got her, what's your next move?" "I'll dump her when I get the chance," Cedric's lazy voice came through. "But Olivia York is quite pretty, are you sure you want to let her go? Her family is dirt poor." "I'm not interested in charity cases. Pretty should be enough, it's not like your family lacks money." "You don't understand. Social standing is still very important," Grace suddenly chimed in. To avoid me overhearing, she hid behind her curtains, her voice barely audible. "Isn't that right, Edward?" She suddenly brought him into the conversation, her tone becoming sycophantic. The room fell silent. It seemed they were all waiting for his verdict. It is important, a remarkably pleasant voice responded. It sent shivers down my spine. Grace exclaimed happily, "So, Edward, does that mean you wouldn't go for a girl like Olivia?" After a brief pause, Edward replied disinterestedly, "Probably not. I've heard of Edward Lewis before. He's different from the typical rich kids. His family isn't just wealthy, they're powerful too." The clique, though arrogant, shows a certain respect for Edward. Except for Cedric. Those two have always been at odds. Edward rarely speaks. After a short while, he excused himself, claiming to be tired, and logged off early. As soon as he left, Cedric let out an annoyed bloody hell. He could have said earlier, "If it weren't for him, I'd never have gone after Olivia." What do you mean? Just because he said Olivia was decent looking, I went and pursued her out of spite. So, Edward was the catalyst. The lads in the room burst into laughter. You're still holding a grudge? A year ago, the girl you fancied only had eyes for Ed, and you're still bitter about it. How can I not be when he stole the girl I liked? It's not Ed's fault, though. Cedric clicked his tongue. Whatever, I've already made my move. Might as well see it through. The others egged him on. Olivia seems like she'd be rather dull in bed, don't you think? I reckon Olivia won't even sleep with you. Doubting my charm, are you? Cedric smirked condescendingly. She's head over heels for me now. Just wait, when I score, I'll live stream it for you lot. After hearing that, I left the room. How interesting. With a smirk, I sent Cedric a message. Darling, I've changed my mind. Tomorrow, I want to go out with you. Cedric and his friends were planning a trip to the seaside. I changed my mind at the last minute and decided to join them. As we were about to leave, Grace looked visibly annoyed. I thought you said you had something important to do. Well, I reconsidered. You're right, what could be more important than spending time with my boyfriend? My words clearly pleased Cedric. The others started teasing us, except for Edward. He was tall and stood at the back, not saying much and showing little interest in the group's chatter. We rented a villa by the sea and started playing games and drinking. At first, Cedric was attentive to me, his girlfriend. But as the night went on and everyone got more tipsy, he dropped the act. Cedric drew a dare in the game. He had to kiss someone of the opposite sex with only a tissue between their lips. Without hesitation, he chose Grace. Grace glanced at me and said, "It's just a game, Olivia." You don't mind, do you? Cedric added, "Don't worry, if there was something between us, you wouldn't even be in the picture." I forced a smile. Go ahead, have fun. The tissue was as thin as a butterfly's wing. Their lips practically touched. In the dim light, Edward glanced at me. He didn't say anything. Soon it was my turn. My dare was to send a compromising photo to one of the men present, who then had to describe it to the group without showing it. Cedric was already reaching for his phone. But I looked around the room and pointed at Edward. I'll send it to him, I said. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Cedric sobered up instantly. Who are you sending that to? Edward Lewis, I replied. Olivia, are you drunk? I'm your boyfriend. Cedric exclaimed. I said, it's just a game. You don't mind, do you? Cedric's rowdy mates, always eager for drama, started egging us on. Go on, this is brilliant. It's no fun if you send it to your boyfriend. What are you afraid of, Cedric? Cedric could only watch with a sour expression as I added Edward as a friend. I sent the picture. Everyone was observing Edward's expression, trying to gauge how provocative the photo might be. Edward, however, kept his eyes lowered, showing no reaction. Someone grew impatient. Come on, Ed, describe it. It's a report card, Edward said flatly. What? A report card showing a grade of C in GCSE chemistry. Is that all? There was a collective groan of disappointment. Only Cedric breathed a sigh of relief. But what they didn't know was that I had actually sent Edward 2 pictures. One was the report card. The other was a photo of me in a thin nightgown. Night fell. The moment I had been eagerly anticipating finally arrived. Cedric persuaded me to share a room with him. I agreed. Entering the room, I showered first. In reality, I was hiding in the bathroom, monitoring Cedric's every move. He would never know. Before he entered the room, I had already set up surveillance cameras. I waited for Cedric to hide his phone. Only then did I unhurriedly walk out of the bathroom. I had changed into a silky nightgown, with a slit on the side, subtly revealing my long legs. Cedric was stunned. I asked, "What's wrong?" "I didn't realize you had such a great figure." I took off my robe, revealing the form-fitting nightdress underneath. "How about now? Is it even better?" Cedric was dumbfounded for a while, then suddenly panicked. He didn't know where to look. He picked up the robe and draped it over me again. "Don't take it off yet. What are you afraid of? It's just the two of us here. You put it back on. Don't ask so many questions." I laughed inwardly. "Darling, you're not planning to break up with me after tonight, are you?" How could that be possible?" Cedric nervously glanced at the wardrobe. The phone was hidden there. The camera was pointing right at us. Seeing that I wouldn't listen, Cedric had no choice but to block the wardrobe door with his body. Men are truly fickle. Before, he didn't care about me at all, almost wanting to broadcast everything to others. Now that he's discovered I have a good figure, he's afraid to let others see. Cedric wanted to turn off the live stream while I wasn't paying attention. But my touch interrupted him. My hands wandered over his shirt. Just touching his muscles made him blush. I buried my face in his chest, saying coyly, "I've had too much to drink tonight. I'm seeing double of you. I'll get you some hangover medicine in a bit." He was restraining himself. This kind of restraint seemed to be beyond his expectations. It also made him feel embarrassed. Because his mates would all see him being toyed with by a woman he looked down upon. By the way, my voice wasn't loud, but everyone could hear. I have an even better side, you know. Do you want to see it? Edward. Cedric's face turned pale in an instant. What did you call me? Edward. After repeating it, I covered my mouth in frustration. Oh no, I've had too much to drink. It was a slip of the tongue. You're mistaking me for Edward? No, baby. How could I have a secret crush on Edward? Cedric's eyes widened in disbelief. Olivia! Tell me the truth. Did you just reveal your true feelings while drunk? I looked at him with a troubled expression. Do you really want to know? All right, but don't get angry after I tell you. Cedric didn't have time to turn off the camera. I had already blurted out loudly. I'm sorry. I actually only agreed to be with you to get closer to Edward. As soon as the words left my mouth, I heard quite a commotion from the room next door. Cedric bit his lip, staring at me. His face had lost all color. Just then, the door was suddenly burst open from outside. Olivia, I can't believe you're so shameless. Grace stormed in, fuming. Others were gathered outside, watching. I thought you were a nice girl, that's why I introduced you to Cedric. I was shocked. Were you eavesdropping? I wasn't. Grace, I can't believe you're the type to eavesdrop on people in hotel rooms. Grace panicked and blurted out. I wasn't eavesdropping, everyone saw it. Look, it's right here on the phone. Cedric tried to stop her, but it was too late. The lads outside all looked uncomfortable. These playboys might fool around in private, but they still tried to maintain a respectable image in public. Grace had essentially exposed them all. I feigned shock. Cedric, you filmed me secretly and live-streamed it to others? No, that's not. Even if I think you're inferior to Edward in every way, you shouldn't do something like this. Cedric was speechless. You're disgusting. We're through. I slapped him, threw on my coat, and walked out without looking back. 2 steps, 3 steps. Finally, with my back to them, I couldn't hold it in anymore and smiled. Perfect. Everything went according to plan. Not only did I publicly crush Cedric's arrogance, but I also successfully broke up with him. The more I thought about it, the happier I felt. Because of this, I didn't notice that someone had been watching me the whole time. What are you smiling about? Edward's voice suddenly rang out. My smile froze. The person I had just confessed was standing not far away, looking at me. Half of his body was cast in shadow, his expression unreadable. Tonight's events seemed to have stirred no ripples in him. Or perhaps, he had seen through my lie. Liking Edward Lewis was a facade. Using him was the truth. Who else could I target but the Catalyst himself? Olivia, are you very happy? The Catalyst narrowed his eyes, scrutinizing me. You've got it wrong. If I encountered something like this, I'd be angry before anything else. Shouldn't you lower the corners of your mouth when saying that? Oh, well, perhaps it's because seeing you makes me happy. I kept a straight face, spouting complete nonsense. Edward chuckled lightly. Do you think I'd believe that? Why not? After all, you kept my photo without exposing me on the spot. My eyes curved into crescents. Come to think of it, this is our little secret, isn't it? Edward fell silent. I didn't bother with him anymore, leaving the villa with light steps. The next afternoon, Grace finally returned to the dormitory. As soon as she saw me, she said, Olivia, go apologize to Cedric. What should I apologize for? You broke his heart too badly, we comforted him all night. What's that got to do with me? Cedric's video was indeed wrong, but he was just messing around. He didn't mean any harm. On the contrary, you're the one who's out of line. The grass is always greener on the other side for you. Don't you think you're being too much? Grace, do you like Cedric? Rubbish, we're just friends. I just can't stand seeing my mate being bullied. I thought for a moment, then nodded. All right, I'm willing to apologize. That's more like it. Grace thought I had given in and looked smug. That very night, I apologized to Cedric on the university confession page. I wrote out the entire course of events, including the post Cedric made and the hidden camera. And I tearfully reflected. Although Cedric only pursued me for a bet, I apologized to him. Although Cedric invaded my privacy and secretly filmed me, I apologized to him. Although Cedric has always been ambiguous with his female friend Grace, I apologized to him. As soon as the post was published, the views exploded. That night, the whole university learned about Cedric's actions. Oh, I misspoke. Not just our university. The post was also submitted to social media platforms. Due to its explosive content, it quickly attracted countless netizens' attention. Although some people criticized me, I don't care. At worst, I'm just a mean girl, but Cedric, he's the one who'll be nailed to the pillar of shame. When Grace saw the post, she was furious. She hurried to submit a clarification. Unfortunately, it had the opposite effect. The alumni in the comments section had tongues as sharp as knives. Stop clarifying, even the stray dog at the university gate knows you're too close to Cedric. Just mates? Used to hanging out with only boys? Blimey, you don't think you're special, different from other girls, do you? Shooting yourself in the foot, brilliant. I used to think the previous poster wasn't a good person either. But now it seems she's the real victim. In the dormitory, Grace was so angry she started smashing things. She pointed at me and cursed. You bloody mean girl. Is this how you apologize when I asked you to? What's the problem? I asked innocently, oozing fakeness. I explained what happened and apologized. What else are you unsatisfied with? Who told you to say so much? I'm not making things up. Fine, I'll go find the admin and submit another post saying Grace wants me to delete it. Grace was so frustrated by my response that she started swearing profusely. My roommates couldn't bear it anymore and began defending me. Finally, she glared at me viciously. I'll make you pay for this. I knew Grace and Cedric wouldn't let me off easily. But I didn't expect this day to come so quickly. Early April. Both Grace and I were to participate in the university's speech competition. I rented a suit from off campus. When I was preparing backstage, I discovered that the suit had been swapped. The dignified and proper clothes had been replaced with a tacky mini skirt. Oh, and stockings too. No need to guess who did it. Grace had a private dressing room next door. Her door wasn't fully closed. As soon as I reached the doorway, I heard the conversation inside. Grace, I've taken care of everything. Cedric, you found the replacement clothes? Yes, a black leather mini skirt, looks properly trashy. It'll guarantee she makes a fool of herself today. You're always full of ideas. Grace snorted. If it weren't for the fact that this mess reached my dad and he's furious, I could have come up with even more tactics. This is just making her look ridiculous. Cedric laughed bitterly. Same here, got an earful from my old man. Oh, I forgot to mention. I anonymously reported the post screenshots to both sets of parents' emails, just to prevent them from using their family connections to do something. Thinking about what was about to happen, Grace couldn't help but laugh. I wonder if Olivia is panicking already. Hard to say. By the way, Cedric, just a reminder, I have helped you this far. So don't you dare let that pretty face of hers fool you into getting back together. Don't worry, I won't. Cedric promised solemnly. I've seen plenty of beautiful women, haven't I? My flatmate who was helping me find the suit returned. Looking worried, she said, Olivia, I found your outfit, but... She pulled out a crumpled suit that had been soaked. Someone threw it into the fountain. Do you think we can dry it before the event starts? Thank you, but I'm afraid there's not enough time, I replied. Then let's try to borrow a spare outfit from someone else. I've already asked around. No one has anything. What should we do? She was on the verge of tears. I smiled reassuringly. Grace isn't all bad. The little dress she switched it with happens to be my size. You're going to wear that? Yes. But it's not appropriate, it's too. My flatmate hesitated. I had already swiftly slipped on the dress and stockings. Soon, the competition began. Grace glided onto the stage in her sparkling gown, looking like a fairy tale princess. Cedric took many photos of her from below. Then it was my turn. Under their expectant gazes, I walked up calmly. Leather mini skirt. Black stockings. High heels. But I held my back straight and my gaze steady. The moment I appeared, Cedric's expression froze. Just like that night when I first walked out of the bathroom. He looked up, his eyes full of amazement. I raised the microphone and said, Today's theme is about women. I'm wearing this outfit to tell everyone that we shouldn't be defined by our clothes. Whether it's a short skirt or stockings, they're just clothes. We shouldn't label women as sluts or tarts based solely on what they're wearing. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. I breathed a sigh of relief. This last-minute change seemed to have worked quite well. Then suddenly, I spotted a familiar face in the crowd. Edward. Why was he here? Was he interested in women's issues too? As I finished my speech and stepped off the stage, Edward was nowhere to be seen. It was as if his earlier presence had been a mere figment of my imagination. Grace stood not far away, looking at me with undisguised resentment. Cedric was there too, his gaze fixed on me as if he'd lost his soul. Grace rolled her eyes and sneered. She's like a desperate barmaid, throwing herself at men who don't want her. Shut up, Cedric suddenly snapped. Both Grace and I thought we'd misheard. Were you talking to me just now? Grace asked incredulously. Who else? Cedric, have you gone mad? I'm trying to help you. Don't talk about Olivia like that again. Cedric's face was cold as ice. I didn't stay to hear how Grace argued with him afterwards. I couldn't be bothered, so I left. In the end, I won first place. My roommate was both happy and worried. That suit must have been expensive, right? Now that it's soaked, will you have to pay for it in full? She asked. I suppose so. I replied. Do you have enough money? If not, I can lend you some from my savings. My roommate and I were close, never shy about these things, and she genuinely wanted to help. After thinking for a moment, I said, but we weren't the ones who threw the suit in the water. You want Grace to pay? But there are no cameras near the fountain, we can't prove it. Actually, there are. They were installed last week, but not many people know about it. My roommate's eyes lit up. Without even changing clothes, she grabbed my hand and we ran towards the security office. By the time we arrived, someone else was already there. Edward was lounging casually in a chair. This afternoon, the exact time? I'm not sure, around 3 p.m., maybe 4 p.m. He was instructing the security guard. Wait, right there. Someone threw a women's suit into the water. Edward, what are you doing? I asked warily. Checking the CCTV footage. Are you trying to help Grace delete the evidence? Good thing I arrived in time. Edward seemed a bit exasperated. Why on earth would you think I'm here to delete the footage? You're on the same side as Grace and Cedric. Come on, who sent you? Edward sighed softly. Suddenly, he draped his warm jacket over my shoulders. It's not summer yet, are you trying to catch your death? I was puzzled. What's this about? Giving me the carrot after the stick? No way, I won't let you touch this recording. Edward sighed again, as if I was beyond help. At that moment, the video finished copying. He pushed the USB drive into my hand. Here, take it. It's the evidence. Due to the video evidence, Grace became responsible for the compensation. She was unwilling to accept this. She attempted to gather supporters in the dormitory to ostracize me together. However, my roommates could see right through her character. In the end, she was the one who ended up isolated. Furious, Grace moved out of the dormitory. Once she left, the atmosphere in our dorm improved significantly. However, a small mishap occurred. Cedric somehow heard that I didn't actually fancy Edward. He excitedly came to find me. Olivia, I know now, you were just trying to make me jealous. What? You don't fancy Edward. In fact, before all this, you didn't even know which one he was, right? He seemed to have gathered quite a bit of information. You lied about liking him just to upset me. I've realized my mistake now. Let's make up. I frowned. What are you on about? It's all my fault, I've reflected on it. Since you don't fancy Edward, it means you still have feelings for me. Let's give it another go, shall we? Oh, and I've cut ties with Grace, whom you dislike. I took a step back. Don't come any closer, I can't stand you. That can't be true. I don't believe it, Cedric scoffed. Suddenly, his gaze fell on the jacket I was holding. Is that Edward's jacket? Cedric was in disbelief. It's a limited edition, I can't be mistaken. I once asked to try it on, and he wouldn't even let me touch it. How did you get it? I answered truthfully. He was worried I might be cold, so he gave it to me to wear. The coat seemed to be a signal. It confirmed my relationship with Edward. That afternoon, news came that Cedric and Edward had gotten into a fight and ended up in the hospital. Shortly after, I received messages from both Cedric and Edward. Cedric sent a long, emotional text. Every word dripped with self-pity, portraying himself as utterly miserable. Edward, however, only sent a photo. There was a bruise on the corner of his jaw, nearly marring his face. Took this beating for you. Just so you know. Me? So what do you want me to do? Edward, come visit me at the hospital. That's not too much to ask, is it? I immediately ordered a cab to the hospital. However, my timing was off. Someone else was already visiting Edward. It was Grace. She was peeling an apple, looking exceptionally gentle. Ed, look at you. All beaten up because of Olivia. Is she really worth it? Edward was lost in thought, staring out the window, not responding. Sigh, don't say I didn't warn you. You need to be careful with her. Careful of what? Why do you think Olivia's getting close to you? It's obviously because your family's loaded. Grace said indignantly. Only girls truly understand other girls. She may look proper on the outside, but she's quite improper on the inside. Back in our dorm, I often saw her liking posts of men with six-packs. Edward's eyes flickered. Six-pack. He had those too. But he didn't say that out loud. Instead, he asked, What do you mean by proper? Is gossiping behind someone's back considered proper? Grace was taken aback, awkwardly saying, "We're mates, I'm just trying to warn you so you don't get fooled." "I don't have female mates." Edward didn't give her any face at all. Grace felt embarrassed but wasn't ready to give up. "Let me put it another way, is it right for Olivia to like you while also getting close to Cedric?" "You're right, it's not." Grace's face lit up, thinking she had convinced him. But to her surprise, Edward continued, "But is it her fault? Is Cedric blameless? Am I blameless?" Grace was confused. "What did you do wrong?" "I warned Cedric not to make bets about Olivia, but he didn't listen. That's my fault. I should have just punched him right then and there." "Edward, you've been bewitched by Olivia too. You don't understand. This isn't bewitchment," Edward said coldly. "I have my own pace." After Grace left, I finally went in. Seeing me, Edward's previous aloofness vanished. "Empty-handed?" His tone was still as irritating as ever. "Not exactly. I brought my sincere heart." "Huh. How are you feeling?" "Just some minor injuries. They'll observe me for a bit, then I can leave." As we spoke, I noticed a figure in my peripheral vision. It was Cedric. He'd heard I was here and immediately followed. Cedric wasn't giving up, trying to make his presence known. But I wouldn't give him the chance. Pretending to wipe my eye, I began to act. How could Cedric do this? "He knows I'd be worried about you." Edward looked at me, speechless. "Even if it's just minor injuries, I'd still be concerned." "All right. I'll be more careful in the future, so you won't worry." Edward suddenly played along. His gaze held a hint of amusement. Clearly, he was acting with me. "Olivia." He reached out and smoothed my hair. "I'm touched that you made time to visit me despite your busy schedule." "Wait, why are you acting even more enthusiastically than me?" That look of deep affection almost had me convinced. "By the way, I think Cedric is in the next room. Don't you want to check on him?" "Not interested." My tone was cold. Even if he died here, it would have nothing to do with me. Outside the door, Cedric nearly collapsed. Edward seemed to think this wasn't enough. He leaned in slightly, moving closer to my ear. To an outsider, this would appear to be an intimate gesture. But only I knew. He lowered his voice and said, "If you want to use me to put Cedric in his place, why not make it real?" I narrowed my eyes. "What counts as real?" "For example, try dating me. Can I have a taste test?" "Sure, full refund if you're not satisfied." That reassured me. Edward's face, his physique. It'd be a shame not to try. 2 hours later, I went to his place. Edward was a London native with his own separate flat, not living with his parents. As for the taste test, we were both in our early 20s, at the peak of our energy. The sofa, the carpet, quickly became disheveled. Edward propped himself up on his elbow, his lean muscles prominent. He had a few new scratches on his body, more noticeable than bruises from a fight. "Olivia, you're rougher than Cedric. Didn't you enjoy it? You even asked for more scratches." He chuckled and leaned down to kiss me. "Actually, I've wanted to say this for a while. Olivia York, you're beautiful." My fingertips traced over his abs. Edward's breath hitched, his muscles suddenly tensing. "Did you watch Cedric's livestream that time?" I asked, feigning casualness. "Not closely," Edward said, panting. "They were all gathered in one room, trying to drag me in, but I didn't want to watch." I continued probing. What if Cedric had succeeded that day? That wouldn't have been possible. "Why not?" Edward grabbed my wandering hand, kissing the fingertips. "Olivia, guess why I kept pacing in the hallway afterwards? Because I was ready to burst in at any moment. But then, you called out my name." "There's one more thing," Edward said during the intermission, sitting next to me. "I actually sent you a text to warn you." "When was this?" I asked, puzzled. "When Cedric decided to pursue you." I couldn't dissuade him, so I thought I'd warn you to be careful of him. But I never received such a text. Edward took out his phone and showed me the message. That's not my number. No wonder you never replied. I thought I was being nosy. From Edward's perspective, it must have been quite awkward. He sent a warning, but not only did I not reply, I continued to flirt with Cedric. Naturally, he couldn't interfere further. As night fell, I found myself admiring his toned physique, my desire rekindling. Edward, shall we continue? He answered with actions rather than words. The next morning, I was getting dressed to leave when Edward, still groggy, asked, "It's the weekend. Why are you up so early? Where are you going?" "Back to uni," I replied. "At least have breakfast before you go." "I'll drive you." "No need, I'll take the tube." Edward's eyes snapped open. "Are you unsatisfied with me?" "Not at all." "Your performance was quite satisfactory," I said with a smile. "It's just a pity we can't be together." "Why not?" "Because, as you once said, social standing is still very important. I returned his own words to him. Edward's expression visibly changed to one of bewilderment. "The night before we went to the seaside," I explained calmly, "I overheard you playing games. You told Grace directly that you wouldn't be with a girl like me." Edward seemed to recall the incident. "I think you were right," I continued. "The gap is too big. We're not suitable for each other." "I'm sorry, Olivia." "I apologize," Edward said, neither angry nor rushed, but looking at me earnestly. "However, if I had to do it again, I would say the same thing." "Pardon?" "Cedric was only pursuing you because of me. My response then was to protect you, hoping he would leave you alone because of it." I was slightly taken aback. As for whether I think social standing is important, of course it is. At least, that's what I thought before I met you. Edward's gaze was frank. People's perceptions can change. I used to be narrow-minded, valuing background and status. I don't want to deny my past. But after getting to know you, I realized that what I truly like is a specific person. Your appearance, your refusal to give up. Your unwillingness to be manipulated by Cedric and Grace. Your confident demeanor when speaking on stage. I like all of that about you. I remained silent for a long while. Edward patted me and said with a smile, "Don't be so serious. Just go with your own feelings. If you don't like me, there's no need to force yourself." Edward went to prepare breakfast. I decided to stay and eat before leaving. "Oh, by the way," he said while cooking, "there's one more thing I must clarify." "What is it?" "Actually, I'm not particularly close with Cedric and his group. Although it looks like we hang out together. It's mainly because they always insist on including me. My grandfather once mentioned that there's no need to offend them. So I became their unofficial member. You are indeed quite different from them." "Thank you, that's high praise coming from you." Edward smiled. The food was ready and smelled delicious. I asked, "Doesn't your family have a chef? How come your cooking is so good?" "I prefer to cook for myself. I can also make fish and chips, prawn cocktail, scampi, chicken tikka masala, Lancashire hot pot." He looked at me with a smile. "You're welcome to come and try them sometime." Edward was like a hunter, drawing a circle on the ground, just waiting for me to step into it willingly. "Any other perks?" I asked shamelessly. "What would you like?" "Well, like last night." "Of course." He suddenly grabbed my hand and placed it between his legs. With a slight smirk, he said, "We can start right now." Seduced by beauty. I lingered at Edward's place again for hours. He seemed well aware of his advantages. When he was beneath me, his eyes were wet and alluring as he looked up and said, "Olivia, you're so wet you've soaked the sheets. Can you really give me up?" I didn't answer. He deliberately thrust his hips. I quickly said, "No, I can't give you up." "I can't." "Really? Really? No going back?" "No going back." I leaned down and kissed him. Edward flashed a wicked grin, then flipped us over to take control. That's my girl. Lie back and let your man make you see stars. For someone who usually appears so cold and aloof, he's quite uninhibited and says the filthiest things in bed. And I just eat it up. Edward earned his place in my life through sheer physical effort. After we officially started dating, he gradually revealed his true self. Beneath that casual exterior lurked an utterly besotted romantic. Olivia, why aren't you responding to my messages? I looked it up. Your star sign just doesn't like replying to texts. No worries, carry on with your day. Olivia, I consulted the cards 8 times, we're soulmates. Olivia, lost signal? Coming over tonight? I replied instantly, yes. As graduation approached, my life became increasingly hectic. I had to write my dissertation, do an internship, and still make time for dates with Edward. Gradually, Cedric and Grace faded from my world. At first, Cedric still pestered me relentlessly. But later, after Edward had some words with him, he stopped coming around. After that, I heard Cedric's father had been arrested for some crime. He never showed up at university again. On graduation day, I did see Grace. She looked haggard, her whole demeanor dull and lifeless. A complete transformation from before. Classmates whispered, I heard her family went bankrupt. What? Weren't they loaded? She always called us commoners. Ah well, they'd been in the red for ages, just keeping up appearances. Grace wandered about in a daze. No one wanted to take photos with her. No one spoke to her. After the ceremony, I took one last stroll around campus. I passed by the fountain lake. Suddenly I saw Grace standing at the edge, staring blankly. She tentatively extended her foot. What are you doing? I called out abruptly. Grace turned and saw it was me. She immediately snapped. Admiring the view, is that any of your business? Oh, I thought you were going to jump in. My words hit the mark. A flicker of embarrassment crossed her face. Don't be ridiculous, my life is great, my future's bright. Who'd want to jump? If you say so. I couldn't be bothered with her and turned to leave. Hey, wait. Aren't you here to laugh at me? Are you mental? After today, we're not even classmates anymore. Why would I bother laughing at a stranger? Grace bit her lip. By the way, one more thing, I looked at her. Even before, I never thought about getting revenge on you. Why not? I'm busy. I have to study, join activities. Even playing games or watching telly is a better use of time than wasting it on you. Grace was taken aback. She thought of herself. Hadn't she wasted her 4 good years on a bunch of fake friends? Now that her family was in trouble, they all avoided her. They even turned on her, spreading rumors that she was the other woman who ruined Cedric's relationship. And now she was about to jump in the lake. Grace suddenly came to her senses. After my interruption, she lost the will to jump. Even in summer, the lake would be cold. She silently crouched down. Covering her face, she broke into sobs. Everything today was the consequence of her own actions. Edward did something no one expected. He posted our daily love life online. Someone with a keen eye noticed. Isn't this the cold beauty who made that live streaming bet? That post was deleted by the original poster, and the account was deactivated. I heard she only agreed to be with him to get close to his mate. In the end, he became the fool. This blogger must be that mate. Wait, looking at how this post develops. It seems the girl didn't actually like anyone before, it was the blogger who pursued her. I asked Edward, what made you decide to post this? If I didn't, many people would still call you a mean girl. I couldn't let that happen. That doesn't matter. I'm not afraid. Edward said, you might not be afraid, but I want to protect you. He was very serious, clarifying every speculation and rumor about me. That post gradually updated for a long time. In summer, he wrote, she graduated and chose to stay in the city, giving me hope for our future. In winter, he said, my girlfriend is very clever. She's charming when she's focused on work. Of course, even more so when she's kissing me. In autumn, he posted, My girlfriend got promoted today. How can there be such an amazing baby in this world? Later, he wrote, as expected, my family loves her. Thankfully, her family doesn't dislike me either. At the very end, he said, this is our 5th year together. She said yes to my proposal. I'm incredibly honored. This post ends here.